Alright, welcome back to another build guide. This one is going to be covering Viessa. Just want to say really quick, I appreciate all the support that I've been getting. My last two videos have been performing phenomenally and it took me way off guard. My Ajax video is up to like 12,000 views now. My bunny video is at 7,000 and I just never expected I would be getting this much attention with these videos. So I definitely appreciate it and I hope I can continue to make these builds going forward and keep providing you guys with some good stuff. But this time we are going over Viessa. Gotta say, I absolutely love her. Everything about her kit just feels phenomenal, and there's so many different ways that you can build her that you really can't go wrong. We'll be going over a couple of different iterations that I have in mind, but this one is the main one that I've been using, well, the first one that I'm using until I unlock base Viessa to kind of experiment around more, because I don't think I really want to change this one in the state that it's in. And also went ahead and unlocked the Python gun. As you can see, just melts bosses, which I'll also have in this build as well. It's not quite finished, but we will go over that in a little bit, and I'll give some recommendations of what I would recommend for it. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so jumping right into it, this is the build that we're rocking with. It's going to be entirely centered around using our fourth ability, which is Blizzard. Absolutely exceptional skill, and it's even more exceptional when we have the inclusion of cold-bloodedness. Essentially what this does is it changes our second ability and makes it give us a skill power increase, MP cost reduction, and cooldown reduction. All fantastic and very much useful for something that wants to spam their skills a lot. Brings it all together with nimble fingers and MP conversion. If we go ahead and take a look at my cooldown rate, once I have this up, we are sitting at 7.1 seconds, so we have the potential to spam this if we really want to. Just absolutely great, and it also helps us use our other abilities, which activates our passive for even more damage. Just all around a great kit, right? We're using HP amplification as our one defensive mod. Like I said in a previous video, I'm not really running any other defenses at this time. I don't think defense itself is very great. I can get by without it. And then I think one HP mod is pretty much good at this point. I'd rather just pump out as much damage as I can unless I'm tackling some new hard content, which in case I'll probably use something like Ajax, depending on what kind of content it is. But for boss killing, speed runs, stuff like that, this is definitely the way that I want to go. We're using skill expansion to make sure we are always hitting the boss, since they do like to tend to move around and stuff like that. If you wanted to, you could switch this out for duration instead. So that way, if you threw on ambush, you can get the most bang for your buck while the boss is down, which might be the route I end up going once I actually can fit in ambush. As of right now, I don't have enough module capacity, but once I get dangerous ambush on there, I think that combination will just be absolutely nuclear, and I can't wait to try it out. Rounding it out, we have front lines, skill concentration, skill insight, and emergency measures for all of our crit needs. The base crit for Viessa is 15%, so investing into crit is exceptionally good for her. Right now we're sitting at 46.15%. If I had a reactor that also had crit rate and crit damage, it would be even more exceptional, but I don't at the moment. We'll go over that in a second. And then last, we have focus on chill. Absolutely fantastic, gives us a little extra boost in damage, just good mod overall, and some extra skill cooldown, which is fantastic as well. We're not running anything like tech skill increase because of the fact that this already has such a high base multiplier of 1,435%. If we add anything else to that, it's going to be rather negligible. Like I said, I'd rather put on dangerous ambush to give us that 50% skill power increase. It's going to just be a lot more than a tech power increase due to how the modifiers work in this game. But yeah, let's go ahead and show you what it's going to look like between using dangerous ambush and using it without it. So if we go ahead and use our fourth ability, right now we're critting 1.24 mil, and then the final hit hits for, it didn't look like a crit, but it hits for a lot, right? Go ahead and reset, throw on our dangerous ambush. Now we're up to 1.55 mil crits, so it's a nice chunk of damage increase on all of that. It also gives us a nice increase to our passive ability as well, so it's just going to be absolutely melting bosses more than it already is, as we saw in Devourer, which died in what, like 49 seconds. But yeah, that about wraps it up for the modules we're currently using. Let me go ahead and throw back on my nimble fingers, since that's what I'm using for right now. Let's go over the reactor. Right now I'm using a tech skill power boost and a chill skill power boost. I think I would prefer to have crit damage and crit rate, but I haven't gotten lucky enough with the Python drop. So this is what we're using at this time. But honestly, if you had tech skill power, chill skill power, crit damage, colossus damage, All 5 of those are great, so any combination of them with some legendary stats would just be absolutely amazing. But what really surprised me was the performance of the Python. Been using the Thunder Cage for essentially all of my builds. I don't have the perfect rolls for Python yet, as you can see. I don't want crit hit rate or crit damage on it since it's a weak point gun. If we look at the base stats, it only has 5% crit. Yeah, so it's kind of like the Tamer, right? We don't want to invest crit into a gun that has a really bad crit hit rate at the base. But the weak point damage on this gun is bonkers. It already has a 2-time multiplier, but we have a bunch of stuff on here to bring that up a little bit more. We're using fixed shot, gives us less recoil and more weak point damage. We're using action and reaction for more attack, and this adds more recoil, so these kind of counterbalance each other. Rifling reinforcement for some more attack. Weak point sight to boost our weak point, obviously, and we're using real life fighter for our special mod. This is just an absolutely incredible mod, especially for the Python. Reduces accuracy by 20%, but every time we hit a weak point, it gives us a 10% stacking buff that increases our attack, so it goes up to 100%, and every time we miss, we can lose 2. Luckily, we're running some recoil reduction and some accuracy up mods to counterbalance this. We'll make sure we always are hitting those weak points. We don't have any bullet straying and causing us to lose stacks. We got fire rate up. Might eventually switch this out for something like bullet rain. Let me see. Actually, let's look at all of the fire rate mods while we're at it. There's a lot of options here. I don't have the weak point one, but there is this one that gives you a base attack increase. I believe there's another fire rate one that gives you weak point damage, and that would probably be ideal over this one. We already have insane fire rate with this gun. I believe we're sitting at like 1,200 rounds per minute, which is just absolutely cracked. Losing 5% to get an extra 2% weak point damage with the correct mod would definitely be preferable. Just haven't farmed that out yet because I wanted to get this video out before I had to go to work. Next, we're using having aim. Weak point damage increase for less accuracy. We're using weak point aiming, which increases accuracy and gives us some more weak point damage. And for right now, I'm using expand general magazine. This was just something I threw on as a filler, but honestly, I'm really liking it. We have such a high rate of fire that being able to make our magazine as big as possible and spitting out all of those bullets due to that high rate of fire just feels so good. And it absolutely melts bosses. You saw what it was doing to Devourers, so I think I'm going to end up actually sticking around with this. And then I'm probably going to throw on another magazine increase just for some more. I think there might be one that has weak point damage. Yeah, there it is right there. That's probably what I'll throw on for my last mod. But yeah, that rounds it out with the Python. Exceptional gun, blows the Thunder Cage out of the water. So if you can, go ahead and farm this. Make sure you got a Sharon to do those outposts because it makes farming it so much easier. But yeah, absolutely incredible gun. And then the external components that we're rocking, nothing special at the moment, just kind of some generic stuff that I had lying around. I haven't actually farmed out my external components because I've been so focused on characters. But ideally, we want double HP with fire resistance on auxiliary. For Viessa, you want as much MP and MP generation that you can get. So on the sensor, I'm running with max shield, MP, and chill resistance. Ideally, I would want HP, MP with chill resistance, but that's neither here nor there. We're using double defense and electric resistance on our memory, and then defense, toxin, and max shields on our processor. But yeah, definitely get as much MP recovery, as much MP as you can on your external components for Viessa, since we do want to spam our abilities a lot. But yeah, that about wraps it up for the base build and what we have rocking with Viessa. But if you're still sticking around at this point, there is another build that I do want to go over. And it's going to be regarding Hypothermia, which might even be able to outperform Cold-Bloodedness. As you saw in Devourer, I only used our ultimate like 2 times, and we have a 7-second cooldown. So honestly, this might outperform Cold-Bloodedness to a degree. What this does is it changes all of our abilities that instead of doing Ice Shackle, we do Ice Needle. Instead of making them slow, we get a dot. That's essentially what it does. And that dot's pretty decent. Let me go ahead and show you what we got right here. Go ahead and hit him, and then it throws a dot on him. Obviously, I don't have the correct setup for this to get the maximum value out of it, so we're seeing some pretty small numbers. If we were doing it this way, we would want to focus around building with this, which is a singular ability now. So you would want like a singular reactor, you would want singular modifiers, some focus on singular over here, because it could actually make use of those modifiers. But that's neither here nor there. It's just something you can look forward to. I plan to make the build eventually. I might end up leveling up the base of Viessa and putting it together on her, because I do really like the original build setup for this already, and I kind of don't want to change it up. But if you are just barely getting into Viessa, do consider looking through a Hypothermia type build. I do think this might even be able to outperform the Cold-Bloodedness. Just absolutely fantastic Transcendent module. But yeah, that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching.